Hello everybody, welcome to a second video here on Wednesday. This one is going to be about how Kabam are tackling cheaters and sandbagging. But just before we go anywhere, if you haven't done your objective for today, here's a really cool one. Shout out to Mr. King over on Twitter for this one, 224, and then we've got Jony, 224 Johnny. And then we've got I laugh because in the UK, a Johnny means something completely different. It means... But let's just not say what that means. But yeah, in the UK, it means something complete. I mean, a John means something completely different. But yeah, quick swipe there, blah, 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 blah. Boom. And just yeah, done 3-star. Easy 3-star. Don't even need to like. Shame it doesn't have like autofire on that one, especially. It is what it is. But we're going to get into the subject. You know, that's giving you the objective, smash up, like all that stuff. But yeah, we've got to get into today's topic now. It's going to be about an update on the battle against cheaters. Okay. Talked a little bit about this on Monday when we talked about sandbagging. And this is kind of like taking two stances on things. So we want to go over what Kabam are trying to do to kind of take on this. Because modders, cheaters and other stuff like that is kind of like, yeah, it's a problem. I've talked about ways about doing this. I've talked about ways that other games do it. Granted, it's not mobile, but I believe there's stuff that's put in place when it comes to things like Fortnite on mobile and other stuff. In any case, let's get into it. We know the impact cheating has on a game. It can be difficult to communicate with full transparency on the topic because the information can inform cheaters how they can navigate our countermeasures. That's one thing we don't do, is we don't go into how Kabam deal with it. We just would like them to deal with it. And that's the thing. Cheaters will get around countermeasures Kabam put in order to deal with stuff. And even people were saying to me, well, Rich, that whole kind of thing you said about doing, tagging things to mobile number, so like your telephone number, same with Overwatch, and I think Warzone might do this. Your mobile number does pinpoint what, you know, the device is. So if you cheat on that device, it means that you'll have to buy a new phone. But people were saying to me, well, you could spoof it. You could spoof your number. Yeah, okay, you're right. So... look, it's not up to me to come up with ideas to kind of like put in place. It's Kabam's. But we can bring ideas to the table and see what is being said. That being said, we feel it's important to inform our community of a few key things happening behind the scenes to combat cheaters. Firstly, we have a new hire on MCOC game team. Ooh, whose entire job is anti-cheat measures. Hell yeah! I love to see that. You love to hear that. Previously, this was a shared responsibility among a number of developers. Now, while remaining a responsibility for many, we have one unifying voice and someone whose entire job is running the team to adapt our game to stop and prevent cheating. Hell yeah. I love to hear that. Honestly, that is a good bit of news right there. The community team intends to help the individual communicate their intentions and plans to the community, but will allow them to settle into their new role first. True, and don't give away the secrets of how you plan to do it. To be honest, in all honesty, I wouldn't like to know. I'd like to know that they exist, but I would like to know that what they were doing was having an effect, but not knowing how their methods were of how they're doing it. That just would be cool, just to kind of see it in action, and for players to feel like, you know, trusting in Kabam to kind of deal with this particular situation. I mean, it's taken what? Nearly 8 years to get to this point of getting someone in place to kind of go with the future of technology, how players are adapting, how players are kind of like cheating as well, and kind of like getting it sorted before it takes root. And sadly, it's already taken root. We've got a full tree that's just growing, a full Groot that is in kind of like span width growth. And yeah, it needs to be cut back. Those roots need to be absolutely severed, and the top of the tree needs to be lopped off. I think you get what I'm trying to say there. We had previously mentioned, we know the biggest spotlight on cheating has been Battlegrounds. Early next week, we'll be sending update Season 1 Gladiator Circuit rewards. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's kind of like cushion the blow because people didn't get what they thought they were going to get because cheaters had kind of like got in there. We had previously mentioned that Season 1 rewards were paid out prior to 2 intended adjustments and resulted in incorrect rewards. Firstly, our game team had banned accounts for cheating, but they were not removed from the queue for rewards. As a result, Banned accounts did not receive rewards, but other summoners did not receive a bump to their placement either. Secondly, our team intended to do another sweep of the leaderboards and another wave of bans. Next week, there will be a wave of updated rewards to provide the difference from summoners' original payouts and their new leaderboard placements. So Kabam confirming they've already done a ban wave within the game, and as well there will be compensation for those that were hard done by with all this kind of like situation, which look, it's good. It did need to happen. It did need to be dealt with, and it's really important. There's also something else that Kabam kind of mentioned, and that's to do with Battlegrounds and as well the situation of sandbagging. Do bear in mind, this isn't sandbagging in the way that we know it within Alliance Wars. If you're familiar with what you do with that one, it's like it is a different ball game. But how we're kind of referring to sandbagging within this one, it is basically that you weight yourself down with lower champions. So you'd set up a battle deck that was situated around spoofing the... to a degree, actually, another spoofing thing. Spoofing the matchmaker, or tricking the matchmaker to think that your accumulated roster of champions was kind of like registering as you had a load of 2 stars and that was all you had, like a ton of 2 stars, but in fact, actuality you had, again, terrible example, but 15 2 stars, and then the rest were things like rank 3 6 stars or rank 5 5 stars and stuff like that. So essentially your matchmaking is deemed to be fair on a number, but unfair in principle. But do bear in mind, like, it's a lottery. And we talked about this. We even showed examples of this in the MCN for, when was it? Monday? Again, I think Monday was a big one because we talked about that sandbagging. In that you could find yourself drawing a 2-star and going to yourself, oh, hang on a minute. Well, how am I meant to do anything with a 2-star? It just ain't practical. So that's that thing as well. But how do Kabam plan to deal with this? And they've said here. Now, I think they dealt with this first off in season 1, but they obviously have to do it season 2 a bit more. Finally, on the topic of Battlegrounds, we have plans to adjust our approach to matchmaking to stop sandbagging strategies. Previously, and I like the way Kabam put strategies. They didn't put exploits, they put strategies. Previously, we tightened restrictions to make it more riskier to load 1 and 2 star champions into your deck, which is what we were talking about. We showcased that on, was it Monday? Yeah, Monday's news show, where we kind of like went, okay, well, here's where it goes wrong. Here's where it goes right. And people then quit out as a result. We intend to adjust the matchmaking again in a near future update to further address the issue, but we'll continue to monitor the situation in the meantime. So again, like, I personally, like, I gotta be honest, guys, like, I'm not really enjoying myself when it comes to Battlegrounds. And as much as I kind of would go, oh, let's do this, because it would be like, well, I get easy matchmaking. I can finally get out of like the problems I have with like situations with matchmaking, which I still don't think is very good. What's my kind of like option? I'll do this. And I've got like integrity to myself to go, look, no, just don't do it. So as much as I'm kind of like, I am tempted to do this because I just feel like I'm trapped in a particular area, I'm going to instead try different strategies. I'm going to change up the team that I'm using. I'm also going to make sure that I pick my times as to when I grind. Like, maybe I'll wait until the last like 2 weeks of this mode of Battleground Season 2, and then I'll start kind of like getting more involved with it, and I'll try a bit harder, and I'll kind of like create a better team in the future months. And I'll kind of treat this as, if you've been following my content, I referred to this before, a process. It's a process of building decent champions to take on the mode. However, for me though, I've got too much on. Like this week, I've been working for the games developer I work for, and I've got like a tight time scales. So I only have about, I think, 3 hours a day to play MCOC, and I have to do my AWAQ first. Then it's the case I've got to do my Act 8.1, because if I don't, I'll fall behind again. And I don't get time at the weekends because I've got stuff to do. So it is what it is, right? So having another game mode to grind means that I've got to think about another load of stuff. But I'm trying my best, as a lot of you are, trying your best to kind of deal with it. In any case, let's end up on this and finish up in that, as I said, every single person in the MCC team understands the gravity and impact surrounding cheaters in our game. We think these are very important steps toward combating those that aim to unbalance the game through unfair behavior. This is not the entirety of the plan to combat cheaters. This is just a portion of the journey. Good. I think this is positive, what Kabam are doing. Really weird that it's taken this long to employ somebody specifically for it, especially with a lot of game developers would, especially ones that make as much money as Kabam, would kind of employ someone within their space of, like, you know, the last 8 years to deal with this stuff. This person was really required as of the last few years when it came to the gifting event, rather than going, look, well, we'll just get people from, you know, development team to just kind of like, they invest their time on it, rather than like we're having to deal with what we've dealt with for the last few years of gifting event and other types of events like this. But yeah, good news and positive for the future. Strategy changing, compensation looks like it's coming people's way, and there's been a massive ban wave. So a lot of stuff being covered in this little kind of like newsy breaking news type of thing. Yeah, that's really it for me. I'm trying to get like a live stream of 8.1.5 up in a moment, but I've got to check to see if like something has been given a thumbs up for a project that I'm working on with Games Dev. And as well, I've got a sponsored video which I need to get out today, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble with the people that I'm sponsoring, but that's another video for later on. But I just want to say massive thank you to everybody. There will be more meteor content coming very soon on the channel. It's just because I've been, you know, 2 jobs, it's trying to balance everything together. So next week should be back to normal, but yeah, got lots of spicy fun content coming out by the end of this week. Much love everybody, thank you for the love and support, and I'll see you in the live stream later. Bye bye.